divided by your mortgage and interest. And it is going to end up being a percent. It's going to be 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. So what that tells you is if it's 1.1, you have only 10% left over of cash flow after you paid all the bills. So you have a 10% buffer. So if one bill goes kaflooey, you'll run as negative. Most banks won't lend on a DCR that's less than 1.2, 1.25, pushing it now. They want 25%, 20 to 25% left over. And frankly, I won't buy unless I can get something like that. Now, it may not be that in year one if I'm having to do a lot of work, but I certainly need to be there by year two. So it describes, the DCR basically describes how safe the loan is going to be for you and for the bank. Banks, when you have more than one property, they're going to look at your global DCR to see what your whole portfolio looks like, right? So in terms of cash flow, always use cash flow before taxes. Everybody's tax situation is different, and so I don't try and figure out what my actual cash on cash or cash is going to be based on taxes. I have too many properties at this point, and they're all different, and so I just am simplistically looking at my cash flow before taxes to figure out, in general, how hard my money's looking for me. Acquisition costs. Okay. This is, it's not really tricky, but you're going to see brokers futzing with this a lot. So they will tell you that your acquisition costs are typically your down payment. All right? But the truth of the matter is your acquisition costs are all of the dollars you have to bring in at closing to get this building underway. That includes all of your closing costs. It includes, attorney fees are typically part of that, syndication fees. It includes money you have to bring in to set up accounts. If you have to bring in money to do repairs, it's those repairs, the money you're bringing in for that. It's money you're bringing in to set up reserves. It is, so it's whatever you have to bring in to start operations. Even if I don't have a lot of repairs to be made to the building, I am going to figure I am bringing in $1,000 to $1,500 per unit to sit in a reserve account. I have yet to buy a building that didn't need something little done to it, right? And you need money to set up. You need money to set up your accounts. You have to have some of that. So you're going to add all of that stuff together to get your total acquisition costs. And to get my cash on cash reserve, my return, I'm going to take all of my acquisition costs and divide it by my cash flow after my mortgage and interest is paid. That now becomes my cash on cash return. I have to use my total acquisition costs to really understand how hard my money's working for me. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. Cap rate, we talked about versus cost per door. So here is a pretty common fallacy, is that brokers are going to tell you that in this area, the average cost per door that some is selling at is $45,000 a door, or $60,000 a door. The problem is that the value is based on the net operating income, and you don't have any idea what the net operating income is of the apartments that are selling for $60,000 a door versus $45,000 a door. So you can get fooled to think you're buying something cheap at $40,000 a door because everything else is selling at $50,000 or $55,000 a door, but your NOI is barely break even, right? So it's hard to get to understand what the NOIs are of other properties because people don't tell that. And so actually the cost per door is pretty commonly used for people to understand what they are typically going to be, what other properties are selling for. The issue is you have to understand the fallacy in that logic. Because you're buying it at $40,000 a door and everything else is selling at $45,000 a door does not mean you're getting a good deal. That good with everybody?